What is up, everybody? Welcome. I don't know how to start these yet. Bear with me, but welcome to the Accelerate Your Life podcast. This is the first, it's a pre-episode. It's a baby episode. It's not quite the first episode. I really just want to take a few minutes and tell you guys what's going to be on the horizon with this podcast. I'm really excited about this podcast. I feel like this has been a long time in the making. I love just media and bringing people value through media. And I've been a guest on a lot of other podcasts and I've kind of like avoided making my own. I don't know why, but it is time. It is time. Okay. So we are here and yeah, I am just excited to hopefully bring you guys a lot of value. And I guess it would be important for you to know who the heck I am and what the heck I'm doing here. So my name is Mallory Marks and I hesitate on how to introduce myself of like, here's who I am. Here's what I do, because typically, I would say that I am the owner of Excelerate Athletics, which is a online health and fitness coaching company, which I will detail more in 1 second. But the reason I'm hesitating to like just say that, even though I just said it, is because I don't want this podcast to be kind of put in a box of only being like health, fitness, coaching, nutrition, all of that stuff. It's definitely going to be like we're going to bring that aspect to the table here, but I want to be able to kind of bring more value because it actually all kind of ties together with exactly why I named the company Accelerate Athletics, which I guess I need to go on that tangent a little bit first. But the reason I did name my fitness coaching company Excelerate Athletics, spelled like EXCEL, is because I found through my own fitness journey, which we will definitely get into in another pod, but I found how much you end up excelling, cheesy, see how it all ties together, in so many other areas of your life when you actually take control of and understand and feel empowered by fitness, nutrition, health, all of those things. And it is that feeling of excelling in so many other areas that I do want to be able to bring to this podcast and help other people with, which I just think does, well, I believe starts with a lot of fitness and nutrition, extends into a lot of other areas as well. And I want to be able to talk about those other areas where we as humans may struggle with those other areas. We as females maybe specifically will struggle with those other areas. And yeah, just allow a really like open conversation about all of life, because truly I just think life has gotten way too freaking complicated. I don't know if anybody else is with me and with that, but that's going to be a main goal of this podcast, is to uncomplicate shit. So yeah, that is kind of why I didn't want to just say, hey, I'm a fitness coach, like this is what it's going to be, because I do want to spend a lot of time uncomplicating health and fitness shit because it is so complicated and there is a lot of just confusion out there. And that's going to be a goal of this podcast. But I also want a second goal of this podcast to be just like uncomplicate life. Like, why is everything so complicated? So I'm getting ahead of myself, but in those two, like my number one goal of this podcast is to just uncomplicate shit. So first off, though, with the health and fitness side of things, I do think that there is a missing like resource out there, whether that be podcast or I don't know, but just missing resource to go get very digestible information and knowledge and education about what the hell you should be doing to just feel good, live your best life, look your best. Cause like, let's be real, we all I know have fitness goals that are aesthetic goals. And it's just also complicated. Like everything out there is either super over your head, super high level, super scientific, or just not generated, I feel like, for the average person. Well, I don't want to say average person, but like there's just a lot of things obviously that are very, very heavily focused on like weight loss and people who don't have, any sort of good habit baseline established. And I just feel like there's a lot of missing information for the person who is just like trying to make some minor changes, or struggling with the relationship with food, or struggling to just like be taught actually the right things, because nobody freaking taught us that growing up as a kid. Okay, I'm going on way too much of a tangent for this first intro episode. Anyway, definitely a goal will be to just finally be a place where you can just get very simplified information, just the information that you need. Okay. Number two is just, yeah, like I said, uncomplicate life as a whole, because that's another thing I think I've really like learned or been in the weed hole myself over the last couple of years. Is I think being like a high achiever, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this podcast would consider themselves so a go-getter, somebody who wants to be successful. That's awesome. But it can also get us really in the hole. And I think like there's so much out there these days about self-development, like self-reflection, always seeing how you can be better, which again, so great, so important. We all need that. I will always continue to do that. But and hopefully this will make sense, because every time I try to like formulate what is in my brain into words in this subject, it doesn't always work. But I do feel like we can get caught into a struggle there where you're always continuously looking inward, you're always continuously like trying to be a better person. And then therefore you're always continuously finding faults for yourself and never feeling like you're actually good enough. Like, because you get into that trap of just self-improvement that never, ever, ever ends. And it can really actually like hurt your confidence in yourself and you know, all those aspects. So that's something I've really struggled with the last couple of years. And I just want to complicate that. Like, I think we forget why the heck we're here. We are here to just be happy to be here, you know, and like live our life, enjoy it, be the best that we can be, but it's not that serious. Like, it is not that serious. And that is me talking to myself. That's something I constantly have to remind myself, is it is not that serious, bro. It's just not. Okay. So that's another goal of this podcast, is to remind you of that. And I think that the last big goal I have, this is really broad, but I just want it to be a place where we can hang out and you can walk away feeling like it's all good. Like, you are doing just fine. And I think that the kind of superpower I can bring to this is that I'm so freaking average. I am nothing special. And I say that in the most loving way to myself. Like, I don't mean that as a negative thing. I actually love that. And that is why I started as a fitness coach in the first place. It's why I ever got on social media with like made my fitness account, and I hope to like help others, because I was like, you know what? I feel like the world is missing just your freaking normal ass girl who doesn't genetically have a six pack, who doesn't, doesn't excel at sports necessarily, or, insert whatever, but is like fine. She's healthy. She can do things. Like, that was me. Okay. And I think like everything out there is just very like, it's the flashy people who genetically look amazing or are ultra, wealthy. And now I'm kind of getting off tangent from health and fitness, but like ultra wealthy, these super successful entrepreneurs, people who are super smart. And it's really good to look up those people. Definitely. It's good to look up those people. It's good to have them push you, but it also feels super unattainable and really discouraging when you feel like, why am I so below average? Because social media makes it seem like those people are the normal, because that's all we're ever seeing, but they're not the normal. They are the like 1%. Okay. Like, we're the normal. And I just really wanted to be that person that's like, I'm freaking normal. So number one, if I can do these things, like you can too. And also just like, hey, I'm still here just like getting by as well. So don't feel like you're behind the eight ball, because most of us are in our shoes. So that's kind of what I wanted to get out of this podcast. So anyway, I think I rambled enough for the first, what this was supposed to be the first like couple minutes to intro the podcast, but it's probably at like 10 plus. So I will stop here, and I am just super excited to get to touch base with you, ideally weekly. That's going to be the hopes, every Thursday. And I will see you very soon. And yeah, I hope you are happy to be here, and I'm just happy to be here as well. Talk to you guys later.